For most of human history, this was anesthesia. A heavy rock, a steady aim, and a surgeon who really hoped he got it right the first time. We've only had something better for about 180 years, out of 10,000. Imagine you need surgery in, say, the year 1500. There's no gentle countdown, no mask, no sleep. They tie you down. They put a strip of leather between your teeth so you don't bite through your own tongue when you start to scream. And then they begin. You are awake for all of it. So for centuries, a great surgeon wasn't the most precise. He was the fastest. The less time the knife spent inside you, the better your odds. The most famous of them, Robert Liston, could take off a leg in under 30 seconds. Spectators brought pocket watches. They timed him like sport. The legend goes that one operation of his hit a 300% mortality rate. The patient died, an assistant lost some fingers and died, and a spectator, they say, died purely of fright. Historians think that one's mostly a tall tale, but the fact that it's believable tells you everything about surgery back then. So why not just put people to sleep? They tried. The problem was always the same. Give too little, and you feel everything. Give too much, and you never wake up. The dose that takes the pain away sits a hair away from the dose that takes you away. For 10,000 years, nobody could thread that needle. So they improvised. They got you drunk, which mostly made you a moving target. They gave you opium or mandrake root, which sometimes worked and sometimes just quietly killed you. There was the soporific sponge soaked in herbs held over your face, a coin toss with a nice smell. And then there was the direct approach. Press hard on the arteries in the neck until the patient passes out. We still use the name they gave those arteries, carotid, from the Greek word meaning to stun. The ancient Greeks knew exactly what squeezing them did. They just thought of it as a feature. The first real attempt at modern anesthesia was a disaster. 1845. A dentist named Horace Wells believed a gas called nitrous oxide could erase pain. So he stood up in front of a room full of Boston's finest doctors to prove it. He gave the patient the gas. He started pulling the tooth. And he pulled the bag away a few seconds too early. The patient screamed. The room laughed him out of the building. Wells went home humiliated, never knowing he'd been right. And then, 1 year later, the same city, the same idea, a different gas. October 16, 1846. A dentist named William Morton brings a glass flask of ether into a surgical theater at Massachusetts General Hospital. A young man, Gilbert Abbott, breathes it in and falls asleep. The surgeon cuts a tumor from his neck, and the patient doesn't move, doesn't flinch, feels nothing. When it was over, the surgeon turned to a room of men who had spent their whole careers listening to people scream and reportedly said just 4 words. "Gentlemen, this is no humbug." In that 1 minute, surgery stopped being something you survived and started being something that could heal you. But ether was harsh, hard to breathe, and slow to take hold, so the race was on for something better. A year later, in Edinburgh, a doctor named James Simpson, who delivered babies for a living, went looking for something to ease the agony of childbirth. His method was unusual. After dinner, he and 2 friends would sit around his table and breathe whatever new chemical he'd brought home that day. One evening, they tried a sweet-smelling liquid called chloroform. They got giddy. They got cheerful. And then all 3 of them woke up the next morning on the floor. Simpson decided this was a triumph. Chloroform was easier than ether, and it crossed the world in months. But it came with a price. In 1848, a healthy 15-year-old named Hannah Greener was given chloroform to remove a toenail. Minutes later, she was gone. The first person ever to die from anesthesia. It could take away your pain. It could also, without warning, stop your heart. And yet, the loudest objection wasn't even about the danger. Some people believed feeling no pain was simply ungodly, that pain was meant to be endured. That argument ended in 1853 when Queen Victoria happily took chloroform to give birth. When the Queen says it's fine, it's fine. Then came cocaine, the first drug that could numb just one part of you while you stayed wide awake. The first local anesthetic. Today, anesthesia is so safe and so total that we don't just block the pain, we erase the memory of it. An entire surgery gone, like it never happened. And here's the strange part. We do this millions of times a day, and we still can't fully explain how it works. We don't really know how these drugs switch consciousness off. We figured out how to turn you off long before we understood what you even is. So the next time someone counts you down from 10 and you wake up with no memory of anything in between, remember the rock and be grateful you were born late. If you want to know what's actually happening inside your body when it all goes wrong, that's this whole channel. Stick around.